Opting out of Google's AI search does not save your traffic. It just deletes your name from the answer box your buyer is already reading. There is a new toggle inside Search Console. The UK regulator forced Google to build it. Flipping it removes you from AI overviews, AI mode, and discovers AI features. Every SEO channel this week is walking you through the syntax. Not one of them is telling you what the toggle actually costs in revenue. So here is what happens to your traffic when you flip it. Which pages should stay in, which should come out, and the trap Google buried inside the same switch that nobody is talking about yet. And this is the window. While your competitors are copy-pasting tag syntax, you are picking which slots to own. Let me start with what actually exists, because half the takes on your feed this week are describing a control that does not work the way they say it does. Inside Search Console, under Settings, there is a control called Search Generative AI. Google started respecting it on June 17th. Rollout is partial, so some accounts have it, some do not yet. Changes take a few days to process, then your content should drop out of AI overviews within 1 to 2 days after that. Caching can push it a little longer. When you flip it off, 3 things happen. Your content stops appearing inside AI overviews, it stops appearing inside AI mode, and it stops showing up in Discover's generative feed. Nothing else changes, not your classic rankings, not shopping, not ads, not the data Google uses to train Gemini, because that lives on a completely separate lever we will get to. Google says the setting is not a ranking signal, and it does not touch inclusion in regular search. Google's word, not mine, and there is no independent audit yet. The reason this switch exists is not because Google felt generous. In June 2025, the UK's Competition and Markets Authority imposed a conduct requirement forcing Google to give websites more control over generative AI. A month later, the same control appeared on US accounts. Jamie Indigo, Director of Technical SEO at Cox Automotive, spotted it on a US property on LinkedIn and posted the screenshot. A regulator forced the opt-out. Google built it. What could possibly be wrong with a switch a regulator asked for? Here is what nobody in the SEO news this week is telling you clearly. There are now 3 different opt-out levers, and they hit 3 completely different surfaces. Confuse them, and you will block the wrong thing on the wrong page. Lever 1, Google extended in robots.txt. It is a line publishers add to their robots file to block Google from using their content to train future Gemini models and to ground Gemini's answers inside apps like Vertex AI. It does not touch AI overviews, it does not touch AI mode. Google's own crawler docs, which I pulled straight off the developer site, say Google extended does not affect a site's inclusion in search at all and is not a ranking signal. Watch what the big publishers are doing. I swept 6 of them. New York Times, Washington Post, Guardian, Reuters, CNN, BBC. 3 block Google extended. New York Times, CNN, BBC. 3 do not. Washington Post, Guardian, Reuters, not one has any robots.txt directive for AI overviews or AI mode, because that directive does not exist. The AI overview opt-out lives only inside Search Console. Lever 2 is that Search Console toggle we just covered. AI overviews, AI mode, discover generative. Site-wide, all or nothing. Lever 3 is the old-school combination of nosnippet, maxsnippet, and data nosnippet on the page. This is the trap. Nosnippet does remove your content from AI overviews. It also removes your standard blue link snippet, which is the exact real estate that earns you the click on a classic result. So if you use nosnippet as your AI opt-out, you also gut the classic snippet that was your last piece of visibility. 3 levers, 3 surfaces. Pick the wrong one, and you are firing at the surface you still make money from. Now here is the piece Google did not put in the press release. NewsDash released tracking data this week, showing top stories carousels rendering inside AI overviews on US trending news results. The top stories placement, one of the highest value slots in Google for any news or publisher property, now lives inside the AI overview surface. When you flip the Search Console opt-out to leave AI overviews, you also leave top stories on those trending queries. If you are a publisher, that is a materially different decision than I will opt out and keep everything else. The opt-out is bundled. Google gets to say they respected the CMA's ruling. And the same switch that removes you from the AI answer box also removes you from a carousel that was still earning you clicks the classic way. Nobody in the panic coverage this week has flagged that trap. If a trending news query drove a chunk of your monthly ad revenue last month, this is the switch that quietly turns it off. If you are finding this useful, hit subscribe. Half the AI search takes on YouTube this week are wrong on the mechanics, and I am posting the corrections the same day they land. So which pages should you actually opt out, and which should you leave in? Here is the rule I would apply on my own site by Friday. Segment your site by page intent before you touch any toggle. The toggle is site-wide, which means you are not picking a page, you are picking a category, and the whole category rides with it. Informational and how-to pages first. AI overviews land hardest here. Google's answer box gives the user the summary, and the click-through rate on your blue link underneath collapses. Independent studies through last year pegged the drop somewhere between 30 and 60% on informational queries. That number is estimated, not published by Google. Even so, being cited as a source inside the AI overview is the last remaining trickle of traffic on those pages. Opt out, you lose the citation. Stay in, you get the crumb. Crumbs beat nothing when nothing is the alternative. Product, pricing, and comparison pages next. AI overviews trigger less often here because Google is more cautious about generating commercial answers. These pages also drive most of your conversion revenue. There is almost no upside to opting them out. Leave them in. If the toggle ever gets per URL control, this is the category you protect first. Breaking news pages. This is where the top stories trap kicks in. If your traffic depends on top stories placement on trending queries, do not flip the toggle without modeling the revenue loss first. Pull last quarter's top stories impressions from Search Console, price them at your average session value, and put the number on paper before anyone touches settings. Model it, do not guess. The rule is not opt out to protect yourself. The rule is keep AI features on for pages you want cited as a source, and rewrite those pages so the citation is worth the click. Exact numbers, model IDs, dated screenshots, a calculator or a downloadable behind the fold, something the AI cannot summarize past. Open Search Console yourself right now. Click Settings. Look for a control called Search Generative AI. If your account has the rollout, you will see the toggle sitting there waiting for you. Read Google's own description underneath it. That is the exact switch we have been talking about. Proof, not me telling you. Here is the piece nobody in the AI overview coverage has said out loud. Opting out does not stop Google from using your content in the AI answer. Read that sentence again. When you flip the toggle, Google still ingests your page. Google still uses whatever is on it to construct the AI overview a user sees. The only thing that changes is that Google stops citing you as the source of the summary. Your competitor who stayed opted in gets named. Their URL sits underneath the answer. They get the crumb of traffic that still comes off an AI overview. You disappear from the box while your own words help write it. The opt-out is not a way to protect your content from Google's AI. It is a way to voluntarily hand the citation slot to whoever ranks next to you. Think about what that means at scale. You sell into a category with 3 competitors. 2 of them flip the toggle out of panic. The one who stays in owns every citation on every AI overview in your category for the next quarter. That is not a search story. That is a competitive positioning story. And the window closes the week your competitors work out what happened. The strategic move is the opposite of what the panic headlines are telling you. The pages you want opted in are the ones where the citation is still worth something. The page structure that earns that citation looks like a product spec sheet, not a listicle. Specific claims, dated evidence, numbers a summary cannot flatten, downloadables the AI has to point at. That is the shift. Everything I broke down here, the page structures Google is actually citing right now, the exact patterns getting picked up as sources, the toggle map for every page type on your site lives inside the Church of SEO Jesus. That is my free school community, and it is where I drop the prompts, checklists, and templates I use on my own sites the week they are working. Free to join, link in the description and pinned comment. If your competitor is already inside a citation slot you should own, the video I would watch next is the one on the page structure formula earning those slots right now. Watch that one.